Remote Resxtop. In our vSphere environment, we have tools like Resxtop and Remote Resxtop to monitor our performance and resource utilization on our ESXi host. So basically, if we have shell access enabled on our ESXi host, we can start using Resxtop to manage our resource utilization there. However, we can deploy a centralized console or an appliance that we can run remote ESXtop commands against. That appliance is called the vSphere Management Assistant, or VMA appliance. This is deployed through a OVF template. Okay, so in this module, I'm going to deploy the vSphere Management Assistant appliance. Then I'm going to demonstrate using it to run commands against our ESXi host to monitor our resources. As I mentioned, this is just one option. What we can also do is log in with the SSH client directly to each ESXi host and monitor resource utilization like that. Okay, but VMware recommendation is you do this through the VMA, like how we are going to do it in this lab. So remote ESXtop is a command line utility that shows our ESXi host resources utilization in real time. So similarly to like how we have our performance tab on an object to monitor our four core resources, that is our CPU, memory, disk, and network resources. We could use ESXtop to monitor these in real time from the command line. Okay, so the output for ESXtop and remote ESXtop, they can be in different formats. Sometimes this can show you a percentage, or sometimes in a number. So say for example, if we're looking at drop packets, we have the option of using ESXtop in batch mode. So say we want to capture data for a specific period. That data is then captured for a period and exported to a CSV file. We can use other tools to analyze this data. Similarly, how we could export our data from our performance chart. Okay, so before we can understand how remote ESXtop work, I will need to clarify two terms. Firstly, a whirl. A whirl is a VM kernel entity that can be scheduled. This is similar to a thread or a process in an operating system. Secondly, we have groups. So a group is a collection of whirls. So a VM can be considered a group, as we'll see in this case. Once we run our ESXtop command against the host, this would become a bit clearer. So before we can connect to our ESXi host and run the remote ESXtop commands on it, we need to have our vSphere Management Assistant virtual appliance deployed. This is done by downloading and deploying the VMA OVF from VMware site. So let's just do that. I'll pull up my browser here. I have the OVF downloaded already, so we'll just go ahead and deploy that. Let me just pull this up here. This is the vSphere Management Assistant appliance. It's just like 600 and just over 650 megs. So I have downloaded this already. I'll pull up my vSphere web client now, and let's just go ahead and deploy this on one of our hosts. So let me go host and cluster view. We're going to deploy this on ESX I1. So I'll just deploy OVF template here. So I have this downloaded already, so I'll just go to this here. So I have it in a folder here, so I'll just select that. Just hit the next here. Okay, so we have some basic information about this OVF here. I'll just go ahead, hit an accept here, hit next. I want to put this in data center 1, so I'll just go, this is a default name, so I'll just go ahead, hit on next here. So I'll just give this, leave this as thin provision, put this on my SCSI storage here. And then this should just go ahead and deploy, and then we'll power this this appliance on once it's completed. This should take a few seconds here. This is a source network on the VM. I need this to go over to my VM network here. I'll leave the IP allocation to DHCP. Hit the next here. We have a little summary. So I'll just go ahead and hit finish here. We'll manually power this on. This should take like a minute or so. So what we'll be doing is after this appliance is deployed, I'll use my SSH client here. I have PuTTY. I'll use PuTTY and connect over to this appliance. So this appliance would now be our central point for managing the other ESXi hosts. Okay, so I'll connect to this appliance, and then we'll run our remote ESXi command and connect, sorry, to our different hosts. This don't necessarily mean we have to enable the shell access on those ESXi hosts. It's only if we are running ESX top locally on that host, then we will need to enable shell access. Actually, let's take a look at that whilst this is deploying here. So this is my host ESXi 1. Let me just enter my password here. So if we were doing ESX top instead of a remote ESX top, all we need to do is come in here and enable our shell access on this DCUI here. Okay, so let me come down to troubleshooting options. So all I'll need to do if I'm running ESX top directly on this is I'll enable ESXi shell here and our SSH access. But this is already enabled on this host. So let me exit out of this and just connect over with PuTTY to this ESXi host. So this is at 192.168.92.153. Okay, so if we are doing this individually on each host to monitor the resources, we need to enable a shell and SSH access, and then here we could run our ESX top command. So I don't want to do it through here. I want to show you guys how we'll use the different options to monitor like this and networks and stuff, but we'll do that through the remote ESX top and not ESX top. So let's go back to our deployment here of the management assistant appliance. So here we have it, our management assistant appliance. So we'll just power this up So I'll just hit that. And let me connect over to this here. So this will just take like a minute to come up too. So once we have this one appliance up, we could manage multiple ESXi hosts rather than enabling shell access and SSH access on all of our hosts. Okay, so let me just scroll down here a bit. So I just need to exit this for now. I'll just hit on 1 here. Okay. So I need to enter the old password for this. For this appliance is VMware. Um, as you notice in green there is VMware. And then we need to create a new password. This password here needs to be a complex password, so we need to have some sort of uppercase, lowercase, number, and a symbol in this. So let me go ahead and enter that, and then I'll confirm it. Then I'll hit an enter here. This will just take a couple seconds more, and then once this is completed and it pulls an IP address for my DHCP server, I'll just use that IP address and connect over with my SSH client. Okay, so this is our appliance IP here. We are at 199. Okay, so I'll just use my SSH client here and connect over to this. You could have a look too at this web interface. 54. Actually, let me minimize this. There isn't a lot to set up here under the web interface, so let me just give you guys an idea what this looks like. The default username vi admin, and then our complex password that we created. Okay, so basic stuff in here. There isn't a lot that we can do in this appliance. You could update the appliance. We could take a look at the basic network config we have here. We need to change this. Pretty basic stuff in here, just like any other VMware appliance. Okay, shutdown, reboot, basic stuff in here. But this is not where we'll be working on. So let me just pull up my sorry. Let me create a new connection in PuTTY here. So now I'm connecting over to the VMA that we just deployed. Recall the IP for this is 199. I'm connecting over to 199 here. So let me open this out bigger here. So it's vi admin, the username, or complex password. Okay. So here I'll need to connect over to my ESXi host, and from there on it will be very similar to if we were connecting directly to that ESXi host. Okay, so let me just connect over to ESXi 1 here. So get this. So remote ESX stop. I need to connect to server. We could put in the IP address here for the server, or we could enter the host name. So in this case here, once DNS is working fine in your environment, this should work fine. So esxi1.lab.local. Sorry. This should connect over here. So this is the local admin account on our ESXi host. So it's root. It's my local username there, and the password for ESXi1. Okay. If we needed to connect to additional ESXi hosts, I can just hit Q here, which is quit, and then go back and just enter a new host name or IP address. So this is very similar to our ESX top view. If you're connected directly, this is just remote ESX top. Okay, so by default, this would connect over to manage our CPU resource. Okay, so if we take a look at the top here, we have a pCPU or physical CPU percentage. Okay, so we have the percentage used an average for it, as we can see that here. Our physical CPU util here. So the util basically is the total without our idle time included there. And then we have our virtual machines that are running on this ESXi host, as well as other VM kernel processes that are running too. If we need to just isolate the virtual machines and have a display of that, I could just hit V here, okay, and then just have a display for my VM. So in this case, I have my 3 VM, the vCenter DSL, and my vSphere Management Assistant VM that are running on this host. Similarly to our performance chart, we could monitor, we have our reads per second, writes per second. We have our latency, read and write latency here. Okay, and as I mentioned too, this is in real time. So I could just hit C and go back to the CPU view here. So let's take a look over at memory. So first to monitor memory, I'll just hit on M. So here we could take a look at our physical memory, our swap memory here. If we are doing compression, we would see that showing up here. So currently it's not swapping, no compression. And our memory control here, this relates to ballooning. So we have none of that going on there. We have our 3 virtual machines here. What I can also do is hit F here. Okay, and we'll have a look at the different fields and interpret them here. Okay, so we can just hit any key here, get back to memory. Let's take a look at this. For this, I'll just hit on D. So I have my different adapters here. Also have my read and write here for my disk. Um, what I can do is hit V here too, and just have the output for my three virtual machines. We'll come back here too. We have a latency or read write for our individual VM. Okay, so from here I could just hit on N. Okay, so this is pertaining to our network. Our transmit traffic or receive traffic or drop packets. We could take a look at them here. We have this breakdown into the different VMs here and for our port groups and our particular vSwitch that these are located on too. Okay, so once we finish with this, I can just do a queue here. We could connect to additional hosts from here. Let's say we needed to connect to ESXi2. We could do that right here too. And just log into ESXi2. So we would need to manually go to ESXi2 and connect to that. So this connection is failing for some reason. Sorry, I don't have 2 up. 4, I think. Connect to 4. I think I have host 4 up. Yes, so here we have it. So we could that's the flexibility that we have with a remote Resxtop over the Resxtop. So we could monitor all our ESXi hosts centrally here. We could export the results from this too and then import back that data into Excel or some other tool to analyze it. Okay, so this is all I wanted to demonstrate for ESX and ESX and remote Resxtop. In our next module, I'll get into the discussion and we'll take a look at events in our vSphere environment.